Welcome to the Wizards of Ecom, your no-fluff playbook for online success. Each episode is fully packed with actionable tactics you can implement in your business right now. Take your life to a higher level and excel in your online success. It's time to work on you and your business. Let's do this.
Hi there, and welcome back to the Wizards of Ecom podcast. This is your host, Naomi, and today we have the pleasure to have on Liran Hirshkorn. He's a fellow Amazon seller, a digital marketer, a widely followed thought leader, as well as CEO of Incrementum Digital. Hello, Liran. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me on.
It's a pleasure to have you on. And today's topic is going to be how to evaluate brand market click share on Amazon. And the reason why I have you specifically on the show about this topic is because you recently just brought up an excellent question and an excellent way how to actually share this information with everyone and understanding exactly what it means and how to use it in your favor. And these golden nuggets, I think, are super crucial. It doesn't matter the level of seller you are, either newbie, either like seasoned seller. This is super important for you in order to make really informed decisions. So getting back to the basics, what is market click share on Amazon, and how should you define it in your own words if you had like 3-4 words to define it?
Sure. And first we'll give a shout out to Mansoor on our team who is the one that really came up with that post, and then I shared it. But basically, market click share is the amount of total clicks, let's say, in a particular market, and how many of those clicks are you getting? And basically, we have a lot more data now that's available to us than ever before with Amazon. Mm-hmm. One of those things is through the Product Opportunity Explorer that we can kind of talk about also, which basically gives you, an understanding of about 80% of the market click share. It gives you all the top sellers around a particular niche. So we could talk a little bit more about it, but essentially understanding this gives you a general idea of which brands have market share and where does your brand stand in comparison with those brands.
Brilliant. And we were talking about where can it be found. So how would someone find this data?
Yep. So under the account, under growth, in your Seller Central account, you should have the Product Opportunity Explorer. If you don't have it, there's a particular email that you can email with Amazon to request access to it. I can share that with you. You could probably put it in the show notes. And basically, Amazon created this so that they can help you actually discover products that you should launch. So you're going to see an initial dashboard there that's more specific to your particular niche, but then you can do searches that apply to any products on Amazon. So Amazon will show you initially some recommendations there, and that's based on the products that you have in your account. And actually, while we're doing this, I'm going to go and log in there so I can we could talk through even some of the data that exists within the Product Opportunity Explorer.
Sure, brilliant. If you like to also share, I am also able to let you share.
Oh, okay. Great. So let me log in and we could go through. We can go through some of it. I know those listening on the podcast, it'll be more audio, but I'll try to recognize that, and we can go through some of the data there that you can get something out of it, even if you are just listening. So I'll share my screen. And so basically this is the Product Opportunity Explorer. So as you see, like on this first page, these are based on the particular niche. So I have a brand that sells this light board kind of tablet for people who do arts and crafts. So Amazon is showing me the different niches that exist in this space. But if I want to, I can actually go into select different categories and find additional product opportunities this way, or I can put in a search term. I think in that post that Mansoor made, we were actually looking at the dog vitamins market. So I'm going to just do a search there, and this will show me the data relating to this particular market. So can kind of go across this, and again, I'll try to keep it good for those listening by audio only. But essentially, Amazon's going to show me different niches within that are related to dog vitamins. So on the left-hand side, I see dog vitamins. I also see the number one player sort of in that market. They show me the image of product, the number one product in that market. And as I go down, I see dog vitamins, senior dog vitamins, dog prenatal vitamins. I didn't even know dog prenatal vitamins was
such a thing. Yeah,
was the thing. But apparently, and it's not a huge thing. Amazon has shown me that there are 47,000 searches in the last 360 days. So it's a pretty, I would say, small market. Multivitamin, and then actually this is where you need to make sure you understand what you're looking at. This is actually multivitamin for people that Amazon is showing here, and then other vitamin related and dog related niches. The amazing thing about this particular product opportunity explorer is that Amazon is showing me the search volume for the past 360 days and also for the past 90 days. So this is the first instance we ever see from Amazon that they're actually giving me search volume on a particular category, which you don't see. I also see Amazon also shows me if there's growth in the last year and in the last 90 days in terms of the search volume. They show me how many units have sold in the past 90 days. So for example, here we see 515,000 searches in the last year, 134,000 in the last 90 days. Amazon showed me the top search terms related to dog vitamins, like dog supplements and vitamins, dog multivitamins. Units sold 20 to 25,000. I see that the search volume has grown by 33% in the last year, which is pretty incredible. I think this is, the pet category in general is a growing category. And then a little bit of what we spoke about in this post was the number of top click products was 12. And I also see the average price of $19. So I get a lot of data here. And again, unlike other tools that give me estimated search volume, let's say like Jungle Scout and Helium and other tools that are out there, this is data directly coming from Amazon, and Amazon has never publicly shared this data before. What I see when I go into into this particular market is I see the actual brands once I click on products, and I see the total click count that these brands have within the market. So if I want to understand, if I want to understand the market share of a particular product, Amazon is showing me essentially that there's 12 brands. Initially, they showed me 12 brands that are getting the majority of the click share. I think it's 80% of the click share goes to 12 brands. And then I can sort of add up the click count that those brands have, each of those brands has, and then understand what percentage of the total click count those brands are getting. So if I take the top one here, Zesty Paws, their number one product has 57,000 clicks, but then they have another one with 25,000 clicks, and another product with 7,500 clicks. So I can basically add up the amount of clicks that they have compared to the total clicks in this particular niche, and that gives me an indication. From what we looked at last time, they have about 45% of the market share, and I also see a particular click share that they have in a particular product. So I can go on a product level, but I can also go on a brand level. I also see the amount of reviews that they have, their average customer rating, and the average BSR. So this is helpful to understand where you are as a brand and how much potential you have to come in and gain additional market share. I I can then see all the different search terms. So I can actually, Amazon breaks down for me the top search terms in this market. So they're showing me about, I don't know, 20 search terms here, from the top one having 40,000 searches in the last 90 days, all the way down to a search term that has, 1,000 search volume or so in the last 90 days. And again, I'm seeing search volume growth quarter over quarter, click share for each search term, and the conversion rate that search term has, as well as the top 3 click products. And this data is from brand analytics directly. So again, this could tell me, how much how much a particular search term is important. So for example, dog vitamins has 30% of all the click share in this particular niche, right? So if I take the top, let's say 4 search terms here, they make up about 60% of the entire market goes to the top, 4 search terms. So if I really want to gain traction in this niche, then I probably need to, or if I want to be among the top, I probably need to rank really well, for these four terms. And then Amazon shows me the top 3 most clicked products. So here again, I can understand where I have room to push further ahead and to gain additional market share. What I would pay attention to, obviously, is looking at those top 3 click products that Amazon is showing you there, and see if you think you can compete with them. For example, if I'm just coming into the market on dog vitamins, probably dog vitamins is not a term I want to go for, because those top 3 click products have, a ton of reviews. So I'll probably want to go after more, long tail searches where there may be some other brands at the top. For example, there's some other terms where those 3 are not at the top, but, in general, this entire niche is going to be quite competitive. And then lastly, I can go into insights. And insights is interesting because basically here it's telling me how many products are among the top, are getting 80% of the click share today versus 90 days ago. It looks like 90 days ago there were 17 products. Today it's 12. So it could be that there's products that are out of stock. It could be that they were competitors that were for a certain amount of time, bidding and being more aggressive, and then they dropped off. It's also interesting because I see the percentage of products using sponsored products. It's showing me right now it's about 83%, but I've seen niches where you can find 50% of brands that are using sponsored products. That would present more opportunity to come in. So if you're doing, this is both helpful for somebody who is already selling within a niche, but also if you want to do research on entering a niche, you can find, you probably won't find it in pet supplements, but you can find more, I would say, categories that are not as advanced. Like you might find this in grocery or industrial and scientific, or, certain categories. Like I saw one category that's garage floor mats, for example, like garage flooring, right? It's not as advanced a category as like pet supplements. The sellers there are not as sophisticated. So if you find these categories that are not as sophisticated, you can validate that by seeing that, maybe only 50 or 60% of the top products are actually using sponsored ads. That's a great opportunity to come in and be aggressive, because your competition is not being as aggressive, maybe because they're in retail and people know the brand and they're sort of like relying on that, but they're not being, as aggressive, on Amazon. There's more interesting data here. Like you see 12 top products, but 8 brands, right? So it's really 8 brands that make up those 12 products. Average selling partner age in the niche, 7.9 years. So this is more of an established niche. That's why it's harder to come in. And also Amazon gives you the average listing quality, and it's 99 out of 100. Again, that shows you here, that this is a very advanced niche. What's interesting is if we go in and we put in a totally different search term, like let's say if we do find garage floor mats, what would be interesting is to see the difference in terms of listing quality. Okay, so for example, in this niche, for example, percentage of prime products is 68%. We do see 84% are using sponsored products. And here the average product listing quality is also good, 97%. Also, what's interesting is there's an average out of stock rate that's 14% in this niche. That is also interesting. I looked at a category that was in pets as well, but that was a niche. It'd be interesting to check it again. Dog leg brace, and I was actually able to find it through this. And again, here we see 70% of products using sponsored products, so a little bit lower. And average number of reviews 2,400. So this just gives you a really good idea of what's happening in the particular niche, and allows you to also discover new niche opportunities. And essentially, what we did with this data is understanding how many clicks your brand is getting, and then evaluating what percentage of the market that is. And you can also understand the particular keywords that exist and what the conversion share for those keywords is among the top 3 click products. So if you take those keywords and put it into brand analytics, and you see that, the number 1 click product has a very high percentage of market share, 35-40%, then that may be a more challenging keyword to go after in terms of your, ranking and advertising. But if you see that it's more fragmented, that the top click product maybe only has 10% of the conversion rate on the page, maybe that presents a better opportunity to go and target that particular keyword for ranking and for advertising. And that's kind of what you can see here. So for example, going back to the dog leg brace niche, we can see that dog ACL tear brace has search convert. So this is search conversion rate. This is how well this search term even converts. So that's 5.5% conversion rate. Dog leg braces for back leg converts at 11%. So that's among the highest terms. Dog knee brace for torn ACL converts at 13%. So that's a good term. Now I would need to go into brand analytics and see if the number one player there converts well for that particular term, or if there's room to come in. So there's a lot of mining for data and opportunity around new products, as well as understanding where you are within your niche. Looking at the insight search terms and products that you get here. I think this is also one of the best ways to discover new product opportunities. Just going into the category niche. If I wanted to go into baby as an example and feeding, I can then go into food storage, for example, and I can select. Oh, there's an issue here. Okay, I can select that category and see the opportunities. I think there's a little bit of a glitch with Amazon in going into this, but I can then type in food storage here and find all the different niches within this that I would not necessarily maybe come up with on my own, and then be able to explore these niches further. So it's a great way to I think to discover products and then validate the data and see who the top competitors are and what the top search terms are. So this is kind of like a mini product discovery tool that Amazon kind of launched that has actual data from Amazon.
I love it. And I love whenever my guests are going through all my 20 questions at once. Love it.
Yes.
it. Liran, here's like something important. I seen you wrote a keyword that is quite broad. Is that purposefully broad, or is that like, all right?
Yeah, I would say purposefully broad so that I can see the other keywords. So I can find the entire market, and then I can find the different niches related, related to that keyword. I guess it depends if I'm already selling a product or if I, want to find a niche. And it also depends on, if I was new to Amazon today and I was starting with a, let's say a limited budget, let's say I was starting with somewhere between, $10,000 to $20,000 or $10,000 to $25,000, which I would consider kind of being limited, because a lot of niches, I feel like you need significantly more money. I would want to go into a small niche, on purpose, because I'd rather, try to get a product that can sell $5,000 a month than, with $10,000, $20,000, I don't think I'll have success trying to launch a product that sells, $50,000 a month. So I would want to go purposely into those niches. And yeah, I would do exactly that. I mean, if I was going to this category of, baby food containers, let's say, or if I was looking at that category, I would try to understand what are the sub niches within that category, or, so for example, one of the things you could do is you have here the search volume in the last 90 days, right? So I would look for things that are particularly lower in search volume so that I can, so that I could, find something that has a smaller amount of searches that not as many people are going to come in and compete on. So as an example, I mean, I just saw this, like there's thing here it's not related to really baby, but Christmas containers, right? That has, I mean, right now it has 50,000 searches in the last 360 days, 37,000 in the last 90 days, right? So the majority of these are happening obviously during Christmas, but this would be, if I wanted to launch a product for specifically a seasonal product for Q4, it sold about 2,500 to 3,000 units. And if I click on that, that's probably, a product that I can, come into. That's, I look at the number one player here, or among the top players. There's several players that have, the number one click share player here has 4.9% of the click share, and only 479 reviews, right? So I'm not looking at a niche where the top player has, 30,000 reviews. At the same time, my sales are obviously going to be limited to, seasonal, and obviously they're going to be, limited to a particular time and not as much potential as a product that's going to sell all year. But this is something that I could probably bring in for Q4 with very limited money, and make and sell this. And I could start to think, okay, what are some seasonal products that I could focus on for right now? If we're in February, I would be bringing in maybe a seasonal summer product, and seeing, what the market looks like. But I wouldn't discover this unless I was kind of just, playing around within this particular niche. The other thing I like about this particular space of, let's say, Christmas containers, is that there's a lot of room for different types of containers, different design, different sizes, right? So I'm probably not going to be competing with, there's probably not going to be 30 listings on page one that all look the same, unlike other niches, right? If I'm selling garlic press, for example, right, they all kind of look the same for the most part. There's a couple different types, but they all look the same. It's going to be harder for me to come in and compete. With this, I can have a little bit more creativity around it, and I can come in. This is exactly, again, I don't know that I would be launching this product in particular now, but there's another search here for styrofoam containers for food. 93,000 searches in the last year, 26,000 in the last 3 months, right? So again, smaller niche, something that would sell all year. Styrofoam may be on its way down because it's not really environmentally friendly, I think. But in any event, there's the number one player that has the most click share here only has 99 reviews, right? In fact, the number two click share has 632 reviews. So the person getting the most clicks here doesn't necessarily have the most reviews. So again, I can come in and I can compete. I can go to Amazon and see what this listing is. It's a terrible listing, right? Like the main image, if you're seeing what I'm looking at, this brand is Pactive YTD 19903. If you want to look it up, I mean, it's merchant fulfilled. The bullets are terrible. There's three images. The images are terrible. It's got the most click share, right? So there's opportunities to come in on small niches just like this that you would discover. No A+ content that you would discover. Just want to see what Helium kind of shows on this. Just log in here. What Helium shows in terms of
you can still see your
that's fine.
Okay.
That's my password. So I just want to see what Helium kind of shows here in terms of the revenue. 25,000 a month in revenue. So pretty good. The product has 111 ratings, $40. So price point's good, merchant fulfilled. Like, I mean, if you guys see this listing visually, I mean, I'm sure you can come in and do better than this. And this is what I mean by unsophisticated niches. There's still a lot of very, very unsophisticated niches. You will not find a listing like this that sells 25,000 a month in the pet space, but you will find it on these kind of odd niches. And potentially here's a niche that we found, and just playing around a little bit on the Product Opportunity Explorer, and being able to understand the market. I also see that their packaging, if we're looking at RevSeller here with the extension, I see that their packaging is small oversized. Maybe, I don't know if there's a way, but maybe you can package this to even not be small oversized and have less fees, and be able to compete better on price because you have less fees. So the Product Opportunity Explorer is kind of a amazing treasure trove of data. And in this niche, as we go into it, we see 59% of the products are using sponsored products. Again, that's an indication that the sellers here are not as aggressive, aggressive on Amazon. The listing quality Amazon gives is 90 out of 100. So one thing we're sort of learning as we look at this is that this measurement is not a great indicator because the listing we just saw is pretty poor. I'm sure if we looked at like Helium's rating for this particular listing, I don't know if it says it here, but it's probably pretty poor. This would probably be like a 7 or something, or 6, and Amazon gives the niche a 90, so I wouldn't take this so much. Basically a 90 is probably pretty bad. And then we see that number of new products launched in the last 360 days, only 2 products, right? So we also don't see a lot of people coming into this niche, right? So $25,000, I'm sure you can go and get market share against this, styrofoam container, and come in and compete with this product. And this is exactly, again, if I was a new seller, what I would be doing today to come in and launch, and launch product. And maybe I would, differentiate this a little bit. I would at least show, I would at least make my listing quality much better than what it is. And sometimes that's all you need to do to come in and, and sell more.
Even your main picture would be enough for this one. I think it would be, you'd be the first to click on. So yeah. I
mean, the main image here, is really bad. And again, it's a very basic product. It's probably why they're able to still, do well. And there's not a lot of competition. But, maybe there's variations you can add on listing, 150 or 50 and 150. Like there's more things you could kind of, you could do with this, and maybe even make a bundle of this containers plus, plastic utensils or something, right? Like that people need when they do this. But I imagine this is like maybe restaurants or other, places that are buying this. But, it's a good opportunity to come into this market and and compete. This is the product that it's getting the majority of the click share. We know we can come in and like do better than this.
Yeah, and if someone from our listeners is listening to this and they are just like, that's my product, how dare you? We are so sorry, it wasn't planned. But
yeah, I mean,
apparently you're selling a good product then.
Yeah, I mean, probably, and as we look at this too, like the reason why it's not great too is because, like, first of all, it's merchant fulfilled. We see multiple sellers on this, so it could be that somebody is just like reselling this item and not putting too much into the listing. It already had some sales, because we see that if we look at the seller that's in the buy box, and we go to them, they sell a lot of brands, right? So we know this is a reseller basically, and because they're a reseller, they're just looking to kind of take advantage of what's already there, get some sales, but not really. It's not their brand to go and sort of build up, long term, it's interesting because there's an ad against this on an eco-friendly product that's out against this, where again their main image is, if we look at this main image of this ad against it, it's at least better, right? It shows that you get multiple containers. It shows the sizing inside, so you could definitely model some other listings to do better.
Yeah, definitely. I love it. I love it so far. It's so you just shared like one golden nugget after the other. So love it. So let's say, because the reason why I reached out to you, it was something super important. The research that you showed, it was like two main brands, two main competitors. One had like 50% market share, the second one like 30%, and the rest had only a bit of it. Right. And my question there is, if you as a listener or a seller are that 1%, 2%, what can you do? What are 3 actionable steps that you can take right now to really increase that market share?
Yeah, so I mean, I think you want to evaluate your brand versus those particular brands. Like realistically, can you compete? And looking at particularly the products, right? So if you're a brand that has 500 reviews in in a glucosamine product for pets, and these guys have 10,000, 20,000, it's going to be hard unless you really, one, can differentiate your product. If it's the same, like for example, in the pet space, a lot of the companies just use the same supplier. As far as I know, like the majority of brands on Amazon are using the same supplier, and it's the same exact product. So can you make a custom formula that's going to be different ingredients? But you will also need to say that if you want to go and take market share away, you're going to have to be very aggressive. And do you have the budget and capital to go do that? The other way you can take market share is look at those other brands' products that are not among the top, but or look at products within the niche that are more up and coming, and you can go in and compete with, not going up against like dog glucosamine, but going up against products that are that those brands are not dominating, and where you can come in and compete. So for example, in the supplement space, it would probably be difficult to go in and compete on a let's say ashwagandha supplement. But if you look at how many sellers and how many ashwagandha gummies there are for as a product, it's going to be significantly less. So I would come out with a product that is not as competitive, but can still hit that that particular market. So I really think you need to evaluate your competition's top products and what product you can come out with to take additional market share. Obviously, there's things you could do to take market share in the pet supplement space. It's going to be quite a big capital investment. But like, what can you do to take market share? Let's say we're talking about not crazy niches like pet supplements. You want to take market share. Obviously you want to have like an amazing listing. You want to have video, and you can do things like, run a lightning deal every week and advertise against the competition, like lower your price, add a coupon, just be more aggressive, especially if you are a very similar product and you're less in terms of review count. You're going to need to come in and give a reason for buyers to buy your particular product. The other things you could be doing is really testing, especially things like main image, using tools like PickFu. There's other tools out there. There's one called Sellametrics, SELLA, where you can really test your main image and see what it takes in order to get more people to click in on your product and differentiate it. You're going to want to do these things to see how you can improve your clicks and your conversion rate. But you really need to do a sort of a evaluation of your product versus theirs and how you can differentiate yourself or compete. But I think that example of the, sort of like, I want to go into this particular supplement, but I'll give you an example. I won't say the exact product, but I have somebody that we're working with now that is going into particular supplement with a gummy, and nobody right now makes gummy related to that particular supplement. And there's going to be a major amount of demand. It's kind of a niche, but they'll be able to take market share just entering into a supplement without necessarily the same amount of capital and aggressiveness that you need to be if you came out with the exact same product. But because they're coming out with a gummy form and nobody has come out with a gummy in this niche, and we know that gummy vitamins are like trending up, and when people search for this, when they see that everybody else is capsule and they're gummy, they're not just going to compare it on price and reviews. They're going to say, oh, I want a gummy and this solution exists, so it has 10 reviews and they're good. I'm going to buy the product because I'm not comparing apples to apples. And those are the kind of things I think you need to do in order to go in and compete. If you're like the 1% and 2% and you're going up against some major players that are taking the majority of the share.
Definitely love it. And one more particular thing that I noticed this is kind of like applies for people who are looking for their next product and can differentiate. What would your advice be for people who are just like, I don't know, they just took a course, they bought 3,000, 5,000 units of this product and it's not selling because like it's exactly the same scenario, super huge competitors there. So What could they do besides making sure that their images are right on spot, SEO, it's like everything is set up?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing I would say is I would ask yourself, if you know what you know today, after doing the sourcing and after the product, would you still source this product? Mm-hmm. And if the answer is no, then you should really try to learn from it, liquidate, get as much money as you can back from it and learn. Because for most, successful sellers, they've had also many product failures, and especially their first product wasn't necessarily a hit. It could be, but it's not necessarily going to be the product that really takes off for your brand. And, you should learn from it. Obviously you should have, an optimized listing. And I think also if you didn't get the launch right and you think maybe that's it, then maybe it's worth relaunching the product, remove the inventory from Amazon, create a new ASIN and relaunch your product and see if you can get more traction doing the launch the right way, which is great listing, A+ content, brand registry, aggressive advertising, after a few days maybe of launching the product, lower the price, it gets kind of picked up within the Amazon algorithm. Do the launch right way and see if you didn't do the launch right way, maybe you need to give that a chance. And if not, you need to kind of learn from it and, source more in niche products, I think, especially if you're new to get started. I would consider it your price of education, in the space in terms of, launching the product. One thing I'll say also in terms of the sort of differentiating yourself is, we have a client that's in pet supplements, and he actually told me the story that, they price a little bit higher and they, that most of the supplements are come from one factory. Their ingredients are different. They are better and different ingredients. Like their first ingredient is chicken, other brands are not, and what I advise them is really to create a video telling the story, because the consumers don't really know that. So, while your product might look the same like everybody else, you might be able to tell a certain story through video that really, differentiates the product. And what they're working on now is one of those like doodle kind of videos, whiteboard, like doodle sort of storytelling video that's really going to show like, hey, most of the supplements that come on Amazon are basically like this one factory and just like different labels on it. How we do it is a little bit different, and here are the ingredients and the differences, and it will hopefully help justify the fact that they are charging, somewhat of a premium price. They're already established. They're already doing very well. So I think something like that, to really ask yourself, is my product different? How is it different? And am I communicating that, to on the listing? One of the best ways you can communicate things like that, it's story of your brand, is through video.
Love it, and I love that, and I wish that I would have asked the straight to say it, just like you were like. People are so emotional regarding their, especially the first product, because that's really like a lot of emotion, a lot of money, and money brings up even more emotion, and it's very hard to explain to them. Look, truly, okay, it worked. This is what it worked. This is what you learned. Exactly what you were said. This is like college. You're not taking college in Amazon, but it's like college found for Amazon, and it's hard to explain people, especially when they get really emotionally attached to it. So I love that you put it that way. Love it, love it, love it. Liran, to be super respectful of your time, because I'm asking a lot of questions. Last question to ask is, are there any questions or something specific that I should have asked about this topic that people are not usually talking about, and I should have asked it and I haven't?
I would say that, in terms of, sort of maximizing your opportunities, like clicks and conversions, like you really need to do a lot of testing. And kind of, alluding to what I said before, but I think sellers are not doing enough of that. They create a title, bullets, main images, A+ content, but then they're not really testing, can I do better? And can I have a better main image? Should I update my title? So I think one of the things I found from talking to, let's say, Thrashio, even they do a lot of testing, and one of the things that they see is that when they buy brands, they're able to sometimes really increase the sales just by redoing the listing, testing, using PickFu, using these tools to grow. And they're buying the brands because they see like the diamond in the rough sometimes in your listing that you may not be able to see, and then they're able to transform. And it could be a little bit more than that. It could be your packaging. It could be, did you design your packaging specifically for how it's going to look on a white background compared to the competitors in the market, for example, right? Or did you just design your package in a vacuum, not seeing how it might look like against the other people in the space, and can you stand out? Are you taking up as much of the white space, in your main image as possible? Like, these things make a difference. And I would say there's probably opportunity within your listings that's not fully utilized or captured that you should, take advantage of. The other thing I would say is that, just in general, in terms of advice around launching, is that you want to be more focused. It takes more capital today to be successful on Amazon. I don't think it's uncommon for someone to lose or not make money for 6 to 12 months from launching a product. So you want to make sure you're not launching, too many products at once and thinning out your focus and your capital, as opposed to, 1 or 2 products, getting them to a certain level, and then adding there. And then again, when you add there, you want to think first, like, is there a variation I can add here that I can already capitalize on my existing traffic, as opposed to, a brand new listing.
Brilliant. Love it. Do we still have time for 2 more quick questions here?
Yes.
All right. So before we're wrapping up, I love asking these questions. Every one of my listeners are giving brilliant questions to this. So if you could have, or if you could choose to have a superpower, which one would be and why?
Great question. If I can choose to have a superpower. Okay, so I don't know if this is off the top of my head, but I think the ability to stop time, I think, would be a pretty cool superpower. Everyone is so busy trying to do so much, so I think that would be a pretty cool superpower to have, to get a lot more done.
Brilliant. Now that you said that, which one would be mine? It would be to be eternal, to have eternal life. So it doesn't matter how much time there's there, you still
exist. That's also a good one.
I love it. I love it.
You need more money for retirement, though.
Right. Yeah. So what is a $50 or less investment you recently made that helped your business grow?
$50 or less investment.
And I love that he's looking around. I love it. And he's looking like,
yes. No. So I'll tell you. So we actually use a tool in my agency called Hipsy, HEEPSY. I think it's $50 a month. And it's a tool that helps us find social media influencers. So we're using that. We're using another tool. It's a little bit more than $50, also called Insense, that we're trying. INSENSE, if you want to check it out. But Hipsy is a pretty good tool to help find influencers, and I think it's $49 a month.
Brilliant. Which are your top 3 favorite books and why?
Top 3 favorite. I'll say maybe my one favorite book, I guess, that got me into a lot of mindset and writing down goals, which is Think and Grow Rich. Something I read many years ago that definitely highly recommend. I'm sure a lot of people have read it, but if you haven't read it, great book to read.
Definitely. And how can people get a hold of you and say hello and find out about you and your services?
Sure. So I'm on social media: Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. And our website is incrementumdigital.com. We also started recently putting out some content from Incrementum Digital on LinkedIn. You can follow Facebook and on Instagram as well. We also recently started a YouTube channel. We have our first video up. It's all about brand analytics. So you can search for Incrementum Digital on YouTube and find that video also.
That's brilliant, Liran. Thank you so much for being on the podcast. It was an amazing opportunity for me to have you on the show, and yay, finally he accepted. So thank you so much, Liran. And thank you so much for sharing everything. It's super, super important. As I was saying, this really can be applied at any level or any stage of sellers, which is super important because, as you were saying, sometimes what I've seen so far, people are just getting into way too competitive niches and they're they don't know what to do, So rather than, this is risk management. So take this episode as risk management, how to do better for next time. So thank you once again for being on the show. And to you, my dear listener, don't forget to chime in next Wednesday because I'll be back. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.
It was fun sharing this episode with you. If you found value in what you've heard, please show your love with a subscribe, rate, and review of the show. Until next time.